go. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chungi Frederic. I'm very sorry for the delay. We are about to start this digital transformation webinar. So, I'm the coordinator of Smart Cities and Digital Transformation Alliance. I will be moderating the panel today. I'm delighted to shortly introduce to you Nastaran Hashemi and Sogand Nobahar. We also wait for Laila to deal with the connection issues. We're waiting. Maybe she will, if she arrives to fix her camera, she will join us today. So the title of this webinar is Understanding the Adoption of the Metaverse. So I will give you a quick overview of this webinar that will last for 60 minutes. First of all, I will make a short introduction of core feature of EUTECH, and secondly, I will introduce our panel today. They will share their valuable experience, and thirdly, the public will be able to ask questions, and our panelists will be happy to answer. But before that, please let me put you a video of presentation of the Digital Transformation Alliances. Great. So now I will give you a quick overview of EUTECH. So just 1 second, I'm stopping the video. Good. Now I can manage it very quickly. Great. So we started 6 years ago as a European Technology Chamber. Today we have members across the globe. Our vision is to technology applies. Now you can see our organizational structure. We have regional alliances, tech alliances, and impact alliances. Inside this alliance, you can find Africa America, the Alliance, IoT, mobility, energy, and finance, SDGs, and climate action. And today you are attending to digital transformation. We have a little problem with the sound. Okay, great. So each alliance has many webinars, at least once a month. It reaches 200 webinars per year. 200 webinars per year. Just 1 second. We are also working on hybrid events where you can take part physically and virtually. Hope to see you there. Past year, we reached 50,000 registration. 90% are company owners and decision makers. As you can see in the right, the topics choose wisely to educate, impact our world, and resolve worldwide major issues. We create more than 400 meetings every year. We are trying to connect people. Also, in our business opportunity meeting, you can access to our panelists. These panelists will be able to raise up their profile and also for their company they are working on. We're working on EU tenders and fundings. So this is the ecosystem of EUTECH. We have insights, programs, tech forum. We're working on the position papers and white papers. And we also have a social media support that work with the SDGs, that support SDGs. And also you have Europe Magazine. We have also starting, I will let you know more about that later, but we have a SDGs award for the company that already doing a lot on according to the SDGs. And so if you need to deal with us, please feel free to contact us. This is our email and also the LinkedIn account. You also feel free to text us, and also you can reach out to me by the public chat there if you need more information. Okay, great. So now I will introduce our panelists today. We missing just one panelist. So I guess I will introduce her later when she will join us. So I will start today with Sogand Nobahar. She is a creative expert in contemporary jewelry within the fashion industry and the owner of Nobahar Design Milano. She publishing boundaries with merging extensive professional mastery in design, engineering, photography, and branding for over decades on a worldwide scale. A unique and beyond ordinary perspective signals to postmodern age, expanding a future-forward ideology through design and entrepreneurship, resulting in a long-lasting impression. She initiates the technology-driven orientation in order to inform an extraordinary definition of contemporary design using the latest digital solutions to conduct a hybrid experience, constructing sustainable, systematic, and intertwist it with art. Good to have you, Sogan. Now I will introduce our second panelist today, so Nastaran Hashemi, creative, competent in fashion design, and unique wearables with a significant background in both physical and digital fashion within the industry, opening up new horizon to the future through innovation and entrepreneurship. Her area of expertise incorporate design and creative decision oriented toward technology and redefining the evolved human being through design and storytelling. Advancing a futurist viewpoint, she focused on the intersection of the tech era and what is known as a traditional fashion, developing a perspective based on imagination and out-of-the-box possibility in order to reach more mindful and efficient results for the generation to come. So, very, very glad to have you. Like I said, we have a third speaker, but dealing with camera issues. So I will go with you, Nastaran. I will give you the hands so you can manage and you can manage the slide. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, and you can go, Nastaran. Nastaran, you can go. Can you hear me, Nastaran?
Yes, I can hear you, but their voice is echoing, so
Yes,
can I go?
I'm trying to deal with it. Yeah, you can go.
Alrighty then. Just to make sure that we start from the same ground, let's talk about what is the metaverse first. I mean, when we're talking about the metaverse, the concept is actually so broad that every individual and every enterprise have their own definitions of it. So if we look back at the content where we have relied on to enter the online world, from before, we realized that we started with the text and then we moved into photos and now the videos, and all of that is actually moving into one direction with one purpose, which is basically making these online presence more lifelike and more embodied, right? So broadly, the metaverse is the concept to take all of our real life experiences and broadly take them into virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality, but without the physical limitations. So this means both individuals and enterprises can relate to this by adapting to this immersive virtual world according to their needs and also their core roots. So digitalization is obviously one of the biggest trends that will eventually change the business in the future. At the moment, we're experiencing a massive wave of changes where the SMAC technologies, which are basically the social, mobile, analytics, and cloud computing, are combining with the increasing gigantic storage capacity and also supercomputing power. So what happens here is that it enables businesses to proceed and to shape the models that were beyond imagination before. Of course, in order to achieve this, the metaverse has to start to maybe provide a very comprehensive scenario to support the organizations and enterprises while they're in the middle of their digital transformations, in order for them to change the way that we're operating now and completely change the environment of business. So basically, for this revolution to happen, we have two key players here, which is first the Meta's Project Cambria and also Microsoft Mesh. These two, I mean, if we look at them, the Meta's headset will make the capability for us to bring the real world into the metaverse. So imagine how far we can go in the creative fields and engineering and so on. And also Microsoft Mesh as a platform is taking collaboration to the next level. So all of that together, we can say that all of the role models, all of the business models will change in the future based on these. Just a brief thing about how the metaverse came here. Basically, we have been familiar with this concept from 2020 to 2022, and we can mark maybe 2021 as the starting point for this to go into familiarity between normal people. First of all, it was like the mass engagement in gaming. So basically, there was the lockdown, everybody was at home, so adults began to engage in gaming. So it became very norm for them to have an online presence. In the gaming industry, we have like the digital assets, the tokens, virtual assets, which is quite normalized. So the concept comes from that. This is the same time in which we were experiencing also remote working. So, which was something that every enterprise was affected by. I think before we never really imagined that remote working could be efficient. For example, in our field, creative field, is like remote working is something like beyond imagination that cannot work. But during the lockdown, this concept became more normalized. So that's why it helped the metaverse to grow and be more relevant to our lives. Frederick, I need the other slide from the dimensions.
Okay, so Sogand will not go for the 3 or 4. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I was unmuting myself. Do you want us like change, or we can continue separately?
We can do as a plan. So I can give you the
Okay.
presentation 3 or 4.
Okay.
Okay, let me show you the give you the presenter. Good. So you have the presenter.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. And hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for your presentation, Frederick. Thank you for the explanation, Nastaran, for the first one and covering the basic. We can, okay, the slide is right. Now we are starting we're going on how metaverse will impact on enterprises in the fashion industry. We know that with the really fast growth of metaverse, it's no surprise for us to see clothing brands and fashion industry also embracing the emerging technology, and they are suggesting new promises ways for designers and consumers themselves as well. Of course, yet no one can predict exactly how this rapidly growing digital universe will shape up, but we are witnessing the potential opportunities that are really exciting for everybody. Here, beside the futuristic application and possibilities that are beyond our imagination, as Nastaran said, for the moment, there are already many reasons that can prove why entering the metaverse could be a really successful strategy for a fashion brand. Like, we can imagine moving to fully digital collections save designers a lot of time and resources. Creators can cut their costs and focus their creative efforts in a more efficient way, because they don't need to be worried about issues like sourcing raw materials, finding factories, or inventory storage, and the list is long. So you can imagine that at the end, by cutting all these costs, we will have massive margins. On top of the massive margins, we can add also secondary market profits, because as we know, digital tokens are built on top of the smart contracts. It means that a brand can embed a code related to royalties. And so each time a virtual garment changes hands, they get a cut from the transaction. And we know that they are already digital brands that we can see are going really well from the second market profit now. Another issue that digitalization could improve is about problems related to overproduction and consumption, which fashion brands are confronting today. A virtual fashion collection helps eliminating these kind of issue by simply staying within the digital environment. Of course, a designer can create a real life piece once buyers ordered the physical item only after digital fitting, and so avoid the overproduction. We have another thing that I would like to point out here is in Metaverse, it's possible to create a custom fashion apparel now, and they can be personalized for each avatar down to the smallest details. It means finally everybody is VIP now and can be a VIP, and who doesn't want that? As last reason, we can mention accessibility here. With the concept of decentralization, the role of third parties will be almost removed. So it means whether you are an established fashion brand or an emerging designer, both have same chance to showcase their work in Metaverse. And it's Metaverse and its boutique stores, and share it freely with the whole world. I cannot change to other slide here, Frederick.
Yes, it's normal. I have to attend the second part.
Okay.
Yes, sure. Okay, good. So I will take back the presenter and I will give you the second slide, and I will ask Nastaran one question. Let me go back to you, Nastaran, and give you the possibility to be the presenter. And my question, what are the dimensions of enterprise application in the metaverse, Nastaran, please?
So talking about it in general, the Chinese University of Technology has broke down these dimensions into 4, which are blockchainizations, gamification, tokenification, and also virtualization. So going through all of them together, starting with blockchainization. So the blockchain network is actually a trustless peer-to-peer and continuously growing database of records that have been applied among the enterprises. So this will basically enable business systems to speak in a fully decentralized environment without the need of a third party. It's still essential how these enterprises combine the technical details with their business models, but eventually the metaverse will help organizations to merge their business models and blockchain-enabled solutions to improve. There are still challenges within blockchainizations, which are maybe blockchain governance, which is not settled yet, data privacy, and also validity of smart contracts, which can be an issue. Talking about the blockchainization, I think it's interesting to talk about the DAOs as well, which are completely based on the metaverse. There are some sort of enterprise-like organizations, also known as DAOs, which are basically decentralized autonomous organizations with significant growth in the metaverse nowadays. Their structure is basically on blockchain technology with a shared bank account. which normally have a common purpose, such as investing in startups, buying NFTs, managing stable coins, etc., etc. There are two of them which made like a huge amounts of money in a very short amount of time. One of them is Neon. The Neon DAO is completely focused on the metaverse with investing, buying lands, and so on. The other one is Red, which is focused in digital fashion. They're also pretty huge in this industry. So moving on to the gamifications, which I think it's one of the coolest features of enterprise applications. This basically enables improved work motivation for the employees, better information transforming, intensifying management objectives, strengthening cooperation subjects, or to create a more engaging environment and learning experiences. I mean, after all, it's a very effective way for motivating the young workers, because when we speak about the Generation Z, it's almost impossible to get this structure of a generation to work in the business models that are operating today. So gamification offer them like a game-like experience in the working environment, which can keep them going and motivated, and quite lifelike. Next, we have the tokenizations in economics. I mean, we constantly hear about digital assets and tokenizations in enterprise management. I mean, at the moment, these assets are in forms of cryptocurrencies and security tokens and so on. So in the metaverse, tokenization will help the user to understand and evaluate how much an asset might be worth in the virtual world. So as a result, it will empower enterprises for transferring the assets, products, services, etc., independently in the metaverse. Lastly, we have virtualizations, which is key in both enterprise digitalizations and also the metaverse. It basically combines the real world with the digital world. This is obviously through VR, AR, MR, XR, BCI, you name it. And of course, the application can be, for example, in medical users. If a surgeon wants to perform surgery or wants to teach the students about how to perform a surgery, they can easily move all of that, and by creating very lifelike virtual example of the same operation before moving it into real world. This experience, of course, can be enhanced with haptic gloves. So basically, you can sense it and you can do the operation, and this can be quite efficient. Another application of virtualization can be real estate, which is already growing massively. I mean, as popular as real estate is in our real world, it is in the metaverse as well, which basically means investing in virtual lands. We have like some key players in the game which have been investing in these, which are Sandbox, Decentraland, CryptoVoxels, and also some Neon Space, which are completely like they're making money. They're operating by investing in this virtual lands. I mean, at the end, the virtualization aspect can provide solutions within businesses, such as implementing data centers with networking and collaboration. So I think like this is a very brief of the 4 dimensions. Of course, it's very broad, but these 4 dimensions, I think these are the ones that enterprises application, like it contains them.
Great. Thank you, Nastaran, for this great overview. Now I will give the presenter to you, Sogand, and ask you that question. Just 1 second, if I can give you the presenter. I have a little issues with my internet. Okay, just wait. Just a little issues, but it's okay. Before that, 1 second, because I can't give you the presenter, but I can launch you already in the question, and you just go, and when I can give you the presenter, you just take it.
Don't worry.
Yeah, so how big fashion brands in Metaverse enter in Metaverse?
There are so many fashion brands now that they are leveraging the metaverse. I can name some of them here. I wanted to name for the first brand like Gucci. Can you go to the slide of the Gucci for me, Frederick? You can go for me. Don't worry.
No, I can't.
I still have the hand. I can.
Yes,
Okay. So I will handle it with Nastaran. Don't worry. Gucci made the entrance into the space with its Gucci Garden in Roblox gaming metaverse. Here, Roblox users had the opportunity to experience the garden immersive theme rooms, try on and purchase Gucci NFTs to be worn inside the game. And it had a really huge success. The iconic luxury brand has remained active in its exploration of virtual world, gaming, blockchain, and NFTs, and they are still working a lot of new projects. Another brand that we can name here, it's Nike, because Nassim, can you go to the next slide? Thank you. Nike here, Nike started with Nikeland. Again, it's a space in Roblox, which shape, it's interesting, after the company's real life headquarters includes like Nike buildings and even spaces where the players can compete against each other. Even users can create their own collection and game with interactive sport materials here. Nike also has a new project that is really new, and they launched it last month, called Datsush, which is a community ecosystem for Web3 Nike consumers only, and it's on their blockchain. They plan to launch the first digital collectibles in beginning 2023. So we need to wait and see how the project grows. But obviously, since they base the project on the idea of community engagement, which is really important for the Web3 consumers, and allow members to co-create virtual apparel with them, I'm sure they will have great results, but we will see. Another brand that I would like to name is Lacoste. Lacoste will launch its virtual store and move towards virtual shopping as well. Personally, I like this brand because their virtual shop is one of the well-designed shop in Metaverse for me till now. You can see some examples here. But you can Google them, their project, and they have really nice design for their online shop. And they are creating also the VIP NFT rooms for that gives the Lacoste NFT holders exclusive perks. But the details of these exclusive rooms are not revealed yet. Another example as last here, I would like to name Burberry. Burberry also was one of the first that gave the metaverse a shot and entered with the gaming industry. They created this cute character named Sharky B that you can see on the left top for the game called Blancos Black Party, which then they entered into the NFT world as well with this character. After their success, they also launched a virtual bag collection for another game for the Roblox Metaverse. They are so many brands, so many that you cannot even imagine that they are working in created project in Metaverse, different NFT collections. But you can, if somebody is interested, you can just search them, and it's really interesting how creative they are, and we can get inspired by them. Even as a startups, they are really interesting project that we can join or create by ourselves.
Great. Thank you, Sogand, for this presentation. We will come back to you for the third slide because I want to introduce. I see that Laila can fix a problem, and I think it's very good. You are combative, and that's what we need in the metaverse. People that are still going to issues and fix it. So we introduce you, Laila AL Hadhrami. You are currently Smart Cities Development Manager in NEC in Oman, with experience more than 17 years leading national projects in digital transformation and government innovation. You are one of the leading experts in smart cities in Middle East and in Smart Cities Associate in RMA Advisory. You worked with different UN organizations and work as a research fellowship in UNU government. You are also the founder of Smart Cities Ambassador Program. You are a global winning award and considered as one of the inspiring, influencing women leaders in Middle East, and recently awarded to top 50 inspiring women in Oman and in the Middle East, and within the most 20 inspiring personalities in Oman in 2021. You are also a global keynote speaker, participate in more than 100 conference, author, and traveler. So I will give you, can you test your microphone now very quickly, if you can hear us? Yes, yes, we can hear you. So I'm taking back the presenter and I will launch you in your presentation and give you the floor so you can talk about your experiences and all that. So I will give you the presenter now. Yes, you can go.
Okay, thank you so much, Frederick, and I'm really sorry for what really happened. And we are always, that technology issue. But I think I cannot move it from here because I'm looking actually from two devices. Frederick, can you also give me access to the other, user? Because I'm looking from my mobile and also from my device. From my device, at least I can,
Okay, no, you know what we can do, what will be more easier? I take the presenter and I change. You just tell me. Is it good for you? Okay.
Because I have like two logging. So if you can just also, yes.
So you can talk and you just tell me, okay, Frederick, you can change. If I can take back the presenter. Okay. So you can go. I will change for you. You can talk.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I'm going to ask you to help me to,
Yes,
move
yes.
So
Yes,
I will
I'm
just
changing
say
the
it like
slide.
this so you can move the slide next. So thank you everyone, and I was supposed to start giving you a brief about the metaverse, and I'm so much happy, that, Sogand and Nastaran, they started, to speak about how we can the, metaverse project. So let us, start with you so you can have at least a brief, because I know most of you might, about the metaverse, but you don't know what is it exactly and so on. So let us start, and hopefully that you're gonna have, like a full, let me say, brief what is the metaverse and how this can really inspire you from all of us after this session. So to go to start with it, if you can start, Frederick. I have, my best supporter here, Frederick. So thank you so much. So when it comes to the metaverse, everyone is asking, what is really metaverse? So if we ask ourselves, what is that word, so it is, like a technology that, tangible for us or not. So when it comes to the metaverse, it's about, a second life. I love to call it a second life, a virtual second life that we experience another life on it. And what makes it, really unique about it, instead of, for example, login as a user, for example, if you are using Twitter or Instagram, we have our own name and that's all. But in metaverse, your own metaverse and avatar, and you can, even choose your own clothes, your own color and everything. So you can choose your identity there by logging into any platform in metaverse. So let me go to the next slide so we can see how the metaverse started, because when it comes to this technology, everyone, they started hearing about this technology recently, and they said, this is like a new technology. But if we go back to 1992, there's a famous book, it's Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. You can go to that book because the metaverse, it was mentioned there. So it looks like, it's predicting what is the future will looks like, how we can other virtual, let me say, words that we can be ourselves, but in another world. And as a let's go to the next slide. So that is, how the metaverse came from that book. But as a technology, when it's really started, because people, they think that it really started like last 2 years ago. But the reality, the metaverse technology is it's not called metaverse. We call it as virtual platforms. So the first pioneer platform it started is Life. Anyone here have used Second Life before? If you used it before, please raise your hand so we can know that we have some pioneer people who used the platform, and let me say this technology long time ago. So this platform, the Second Life, started in 2003. So what make it now very famous and popular? Let's go next slide so we can explore together. So as I said, that technology started a long time ago. So now I gave you a brief about the technology and the terminology. The terminology came from a book, but the technology started mostly in 2003. So what make metaverse trending? In 2019, COVID influence has accelerated actually most of the projects. And people, and we have, like a very successful story like Sogand and Nastaran. They said in COVID-19, our business had to collapse. And this happened to most of the industries. And, the question was to everyone, should we survive or give up? The people who were, smart about it, they said, let's go to the Second Life. Sorry, the metaverse. I still love to call it, Second Life, because that's how it really started. But the term metaverse, it's also became very much famous, after COVID-19, and especially when Facebook rebrand as Meta. So the technology and terminology, it was there a long time, because Facebook, they realized, okay, in COVID-19, everyone started to go virtually. Some people, they started, for example, to work remotely. Some people they started working, for example, by online platforms. But most of the people who are having education, shopping and so on, they went to the metaverse. So they become the real experience because everyone was, staying at home. And let me take you to the other slide. So this is, the one of the platforms that, by Facebook created. It's called Horizon Works, because sometimes they go and Google it and they say metaverse platform. It's not about metaverse platform. The metaverse is just, as I say, the terminology, but there's thousands of platforms. And this is one of the platforms was created by Facebook, and it's still beta version because, they just started as they did, the rebranding. And it started first in the US, and then they went to some countries in Europe. So far, it's still, like a beta version in some countries. If you are, for example, the Middle East, you cannot have, let me say, access or log in to this platform. So, and we need now to know what are the top platforms. So let us go to the next slide so we can know exactly what are the top platforms. If you can, you just stay there. Okay? According to Analytics Insight, there is top 10 metaverse platforms around the world. And as I said, this is how now you can know the technology is not new. It's there a long time ago. And some platforms, they become very popular. So in order to see the 10 platforms, let's go to the next slide. And I need from each one of you to take, a screenshot. You can try one of these because, it's all about trying. Don't wait the others, to tell you more about the metaverse. Go and experience. So this is just, the top 10 platforms around the world. And as I say, there's thousands, and I'm really so much proud. There's a lot of startups, a lot of enterprise having their own metaverse platforms. So my advice to you, don't leave this session before going to these. For example, and each, platform is unique. For example, let me give you an example. Roblox. Most of the kids, and let me see people who are crazy about gaming, they know Roblox. So don't say we don't have the technology. Believe me, if you have kids at the, go back to home, you will be, astonished and impressed that they know this platform. So we have, all of us to keep ourselves, let me say, aligned with what is really happening with us. So let's go to the next slide for this. So when it comes to the metaverse technologies, is it just, like 3D printing, like a virtual world, and that's all? No. When the platform, let me say, when the technology, when I, spoke about it in 2003, it was, just built as a 3D platform. and using the VR and AR at that time. But recently, these technology started to be, empowered by other technologies. So most of the, let me say the Metaverse platform now, they are building this technology in blockchain. Why? Because, blockchain as a technology, it's mostly about the linking security and to the cryptocurrency, let me say like blockchain and the other, let me say digital coins and so on. And that also depends in every country. Is your country, allowing this strategy for the, cryptocurrency or not? So it depends in the use of every one of us. And some of them, they use the NFT. So the NFT and the blockchain, they become very also popular inside the metaverse. That's why some people, they say, we are going to land, we are going to rent a land. So these services is there a long time ago, but now they use the NFT and so they can, use it. And also, we have Sogand, they spoke about, their traditional business, how they make it, transfer to the reverse. So people, they can also buy this jewelry virtually. And this would happen, with most of the, let me say, famous branding, like Nike and other, let me say, brands, they went virtually during COVID-19. Let's go to the next page. This is, also to give you, and when it comes to technology, every year and maybe every day, you're going to find a new technology empowered kind of, reality platforms, the metaverse. Because sometimes people, they can say, we need to know what is the ROI, for example, why I should go to, why I should move my industry and so on. Some of the platforms, they will allow you, for example, to use some of these statistics. And this is how you're going to have all the data. And definitely you're going to find, smart solutions. You're going to use the AI so it can help you to take some decision. You know, for example, what kind of users who are looking to your industry or let me say your platform, what kind of shoppers, what kind of users, what time best to, visit your platform. All of these, information, the data, going to help you in future so you can improve your business. Let's go to the next. Okay. So, this is one of the most important questions. Where to invest, especially if you are, a starter, enterprise, because you heard a lot about, the metaverse. And it's very important. Let us go to the next slide. And because, many people, they came to me and they say, how can we invest in metaverse? Is there any use to invest in metaverse? The first thing, let's tell you, metaverse is now trending, as I, mentioned. You have to keep yourself aligned to what's really happening around the world. So, and there is a lot of, let me say, sectors that you can invest in it. Gaming, definitely, most of the people who knows metaverse, they will just it's about gaming, but it's not just about gaming. Gaming is just, like me saying one of these, sectors. And you can use, for example, like action, let me say, social networking for your employees, for your organizations. And you can use it for the travel and tourism. So, for example, some of the countries, they started marketing for their countries through the metaverse. Because, the number of the metaverse users is increasing. So they said, okay, let us do the marketing for our countries. So you can go there, experience, no need for you now to travel and say, I'm afraid how to do and so on. So you can just, go inside and live the experience. And with the education learning, for me, as a Laila, the first time I used the metaverse, it was in 2006, in Second Life. I used it for education and learning. And I was a learner, actually. And what happens in COVID-19, I was attending one of the, let me say, institutions, and I was learning Spanish. And suddenly, because of COVID-19, I heard, that institution, in Muscat, they closed. And it was not the only one. So many universities, schools closed down because of COVID-19. But some people, they were so much smart. They went virtually to the metaverse. So this is, you might give up or you might be smarter and align yourself, or let me say the business, to really happening around. And for me, it's like a learning cycle. I love it so much. That's why I'm, inviting each one of you to go and, experience the metaverse by one of these platforms that I share with you. And when it comes to the remote working, some people, they say instead of using the online platform as we use it now, for example, because most of you, when we have that online meetings, most of the people, they will just log in without camera. So they say, oh, we are with you. But to be honest with you, most of us, they love to attend the meetings and they're sleeping with pajamas and so on. But the other, organization, they say, let's go to the metaverse because your own, avatars and so on. So you can guarantee it's gonna be more productive than just the online platform that you are now using. And some people, they say we're gonna use it for the real estate. They buy lands, they rent lands and so on. Because even now for the platforms, some people say to me, we need to have a business for us. We need to create our own building in one of the platforms. And now, the real estate, and I said, the price, it depends in the type of the platform that you are looking for. Because if it's one of these, let me say the top platforms, it's really expensive with them. But the beginner platforms, because if you search, you're going to find a lot of platforms in Metaverse. So, it depends. And the real estate is for me similar when you go and, for example, book a domain for your website. So it's almost the same. So it's becoming so crazy, and, sometimes we might go. And,
excuse me, Laila, you just have 1 minute left, just to tell you.
Okay. Yes, this is mostly the last one. And as I said, they can also use it in the banking, finance, social media, and entertainment. So that's going to, depend in the need of each user. So let's go to the next. This is what we going to, the last slide. So thank you so much. And I really hope that all of you gonna experience the metaverse. It doesn't that you go and buy or let me say do shopping. You can be just a user, experience it, just experience the metaverse. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laila, for this great presentation. It was a pleasure to hear you, and I'm very happy that you can connect yourself to this webinar to share with us your experiences. And now I will go for question. I just say to the public that you can tap on the chat if you have any question, if you have any remarks. Feel free to put it on the public chat. We will be happy to discuss about that. And I have a question for you, Sogand. We talk about the physical brands that enter the metaverse. Are there enterprises in your sector that are fully based in the metaverse? Oh, please, can you unmute yourself because we can't hear you. You are muted. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, sure. After all the projects, digital tokens, and immersion of big brands that we said in the space, you can imagine it was time in the fashion industry for a fashion runway in Metaverse. And in March of this year, Decentraland, which it was the second famous platform that Laila showed us in the list, launched the very first Metaverse Fashion Week with attendees able to take part in different digital events on the platform and do everything like the real life. The entire experience was blockchain based and created on lands sold as NFTs and in digital fashion bots and worn as NFTs as well. Metaverse Fashion Weeks, in my opinion, is a peak moment for digital fashion where both brands and consumers can experience the future of fashion. And among all the famous brands and known brands that have participated in that event, which they are programming also for the next year, some of the brands were fully Metaverse native, means they are completely based in Metaverse and focus mainly on fully digital fashion. Like the very well-known brand, the called The Fabricant. And you can imagine this opens a new wide platform of opportunities for fashion businesses, fashion designers, and to shape within the metaverse such retail, marketing, consulting, law, design, and so many other options. And it's a new world and new opportunities, like Laila said.
Great. Thank you for this word. And now I have a question for you, Nastaran. How does the metaverse change the business model in the physical-based enterprise in fashion industry?
Well, if we want to look back at the evolution of fashion, we see that it has always been the forefront of innovation. because it has to be. It is one of the largest, most important industries with crazy amounts of money invested in many cases in a bad way. But fashion was one of the first industries that actually entered the metaverse because of its potential and, of course, sustainability reasons. And on top of them, the impact it has on other industries as well. I mean, with the part of experimenting with the new styles and extraordinary features of physical fashion transferred to the metaverse completely, the impact will be directly on physical business models. It's because it spots the belief system. It changes the belief system. If you move half of your life into the metaverse, will you be dressing as you are dressed now? Maybe yes and maybe not. Of course, they will have to change. There will be the need for more comfortable, functional pieces in the physical world that can help you operate better. So as a result, fashion enterprises need to rebuild their strategies in order to balance the needs of both physical and digital presence. That's basically like what we are doing. Like, we work in digital fashion and we provide pieces for the metaverse, but meanwhile developing physical options that can function accordingly to the metaverse in parallel. So I think that the impact will be super major. It will definitely change the fashion industry. I think they're already thinking about changing the physical business models because they're already in the metaverse. And I think during the next 10 years, we will see massive changes in the way that we dress, or we think about buying fashion, or we see fashion. It's going to completely change.
Thank you. And I will go now with one last question to you, Laila, and then you will have to conclude. So, Laila, I have a question. So, how the metaverse will change the way we are working nowadays, please?
This is like a very good question. As I mentioned, Frederick, it's very important to think about what is really happening around us, in the world. And as I said, COVID-19 has taught all of us a very good lesson that you should adopt these strategies so you can survive. If you just want to, watch the others, believe me, you're going to be out of the game. Some people, they said, okay, we are afraid of using the metaverse because we might, miss, let me say, the interaction, the human interaction factor and so on. And what happens, whenever we get like a new technology, people, they will just start, complaining about it. And, and I know sometimes you laugh, it's the same phrases that every time we heard it, especially when, when the revolution of the internet started, everyone, like, well, the internet is going to destroy us as a human and so on. So it's very important that to adapt to the metaverse. And it's going to be, very much because, I can see it, and touch it. Especially when it comes to the training. People sometimes, for example, in the medicine, they find difficulties, to get, let me say, practical sessions, for example. They get, like a body so they can test it and so on. But now it's very easy to come to the metaverse. Everything is virtual there. So they can, practice the medicine there. It's the same when it comes, for example, in terms of the, let me say, tour guides. Sometimes, their universities, they have to send them, for example, to some hotels and so on. But now it's a piece of cake. If you are going to do it in the metaverse, you're going to invest and you're going to also reduce your cost and effort. So we need to, get the best of the best in the metaverse. Every technology has, let me say, the best, and most of the technologies are enabled for us. So, we have to adapt these technologies to help us and empower us in, leading our project. So this is what I could share with all of you, Frederick.
Thank you. So now we will go for the conclusion. So you have just 1 minute conclusion because we're running late. So I will give you the floor, Sogand. You can go for your conclusion. Just 1 minute, please.
Okay, shall I start?
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, Laila, start with Sogand. Who wants to go first? Okay, Laila, you can
just should I go or Laila go? I don't know.
Okay, Sogand, you can go. You can go, Sogand.
Okay, I wanted to just to add that, as we said, with everything, with the sample of the big brands that entered or emerging designer, we see that there are really, really potential in the metaverse for the small and emerging designers, that because there is liberty for everyone. We hope, it's not sure, but we hope centralization, that everybody has the same possibilities, and we don't have the issues of contacting mediators or need other person to present ourselves and grow. So there is a field for everybody, and we hope there is a chance same for everybody, small or big, emerging or investors. We can all grow together finally. We hope.
Thank you for this word, and I will go with you, Nastaran. Can you give your conclusion, please?
I mean, as we went through them all together, the three of us, I mean, the metaverse will eventually change everything. There are talks about whether is the metaverse going to fail or not. It will not fail because it's already there and it has been invested in for many years before. So it's something that should be considered in all of the businesses. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're completely based on in physical world or want to like completely move the business into the metaverse. You have to consider how to interact in a global scale, in the virtual world, in order for revolutionizing how we collaborate and how we communicate with each other. We basically like moved everything into making it about fashion because that's a sector that we specialize in. But if fashion is one of the first things that went into the metaverse, the others will follow. No matter how traditional, no matter how old or how new, they will all of them will eventually end up in the metaverse, and that's a fact. It's not an assumption. That's a fact.
Great. Thank you, Nastaran, for this word. And I will go now with you, Laila, for your conclusion, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Frederick, and for everyone who attending this event, and that for all the travels that happened from my side. And technology is always like that. But in order to just to conclude, I would like to use the shared by Mark Oliver in the public chat. Open eyes to what's happening around you. It's a key to learn and experience. So never wait. Whether you are a user or you're just curious about the technology, or entrepreneur, or startup, go and try it, because this is for me, surviving or not surviving. You have to have that most important for you to be able to know what's really happening around you, so you can open your eyes and see what's really there. So thank you so much, Frederick, and everyone.
So thank you, Laila, for this word. Just before we leave, Laila and Nastaran and Sogand, I want to take a picture because we couldn't do that. So bring your best smile so we can have a good picture for the communication. So I'll be taking 2, 3, 1. Go. Good. I have it. Amazing. Okay. So thank you everyone for attending this webinar. So I want to thank, first of all, of course, our speakers, Laila, Nastaran, and Sogand, for this great presentation. I'm sure everyone here learned a lot about Metaverse. We already in Metaverse, we're already working through Metaverse, but most of us didn't know that we are already inside. And I see in the public chat a lot of great webinar, great presentation, great contribution. So I think everyone is satisfied about what we just heard. And I'm very happy about the webinar also, because we have that two views: one, public policy makers and public, and the other part, enterprise. So it was a very good content to hear. So this is the last digital transformation event for the year 2022. So I wish to everyone a wonderful Happy New Year, because I will not see you. I didn't see you for until that date. And Laila, I want to wish you an happy birthday today, because I know it's your birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Laila.
I hope you will enjoy it today and have a great celebration. Thank you for making time today to come. And thank you all to Nastaran and Sogand for this great, amazing presentation. And I will see you soon, and we come back to you with more, because I know we keep in touch now and in this digital transformation alliances. Thank
We
you.
would love that. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and
course.
thank you. We were happy to be with you, Laila, and thank you for everybody to participate.
It was a
So it was-
pleasure, everyone. And Laila, I wish you a very happy birthday. Go party now.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
Bye. You too.
Thank you so much. Bye.
You are currently the only person in this conference. You are currently the only person in this conference.